Hey, what's up guys, my name's James Diamond and welcome back to the next episode here on Sonic Academy of how to make a Psytrance track. Over the last few episodes we were looking at all of these cool atmospheric and kind of glitchy type sounds to really help with the drive, the backing kind of layers of the track and the real kind of atmospheric sound. So it wouldn't be a Psytrance track without some acids, which is one that we're going to look at in this episode, but first of all we're going to look at some bass hits. Now what I mean by bass hits is literally, as I say, they're bass hits. They're going to be single hits that are going to play every so often. Now I've already got these set up. I literally went through the Sonic Academy sound banks for Anna and found these very cool two separate bass hits. And then I've just gone in and put in a single hit in the MIDI. Very cool indeed, very kind of rough and distorted. So if I just put these onto a channel and let's have a listen to them both together. That's pretty cool, really liking the sound of that. So let's go ahead and put some EQ on there, and we want to have a little bit of the low end in there. Sounds quite nice. And then I think I'm going to push these out wide because the main Psytrance bass line is right down the center, and I want to push these out wide so they do not clash with the kick or the bass. Sounds pretty cool. Now let's get some sidechain on there because they're landing on the beat, so we just want to sidechain a little bit of the very first instant of the sound, and then for the sidechain to release, and then for the sound to come through. So let's have a listen to see how that sounds like in the mix, and I'll just play the kick, the bass and the bass hits. So they're pretty cool, really liking those. Something else that I'm going to do to enhance this just that little bit further is I'm going to turn off all the effects, and I've just simply moved the single note to the start of the bar, and now I'm going to put lots of reverb on. So that sounds pretty cool, and exactly the same way as what we did with the transition effects here. I'm going to render that out, I'm going to put it back into the project and I'm going to reverse it. So that should now pop up in my folder. There it is. So let's put that on its own channel, and we'll switch off the reverb and put the other effects back on there. I'll leave the reverb there so you can have it. So basically, as you can see, it's just literally there's the MIDI and here's what's rendered out into audio. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click reverse, and I'm going to chop off the very the very end of this audio file. I'm going to normalize it just to bring a bit extra volume, and then we're going to put it onto this channel where it already is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just send this, actually no, I'm not going to send it out wide for the time being. Let me just get rid of that. I'll just put some EQ on just to chop off the low end, and let's listen to see how that sounds. Kind of a bit strange at the moment, doesn't really sound quite right. So let's add some volume automation. Sounds a bit more like it. So that's a pretty cool technique. I really like doing that. I really like rendering out kind of reverbed effects and then putting them back into the project, so you're just hearing that really cool reverb. So I'm liking the sound of that so far, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one unique, and I'm going to send that to the right, pan it to the right, and then I'm going to pan the first one to the left. I need to redo the volume automation now because it's a new clip. Let's have a listen to what this sounds like now. So that's pretty cool. It's a nice technique. It kind of adds more width to the sound, and it's very groovy. It adds a lot to the groove. So if we listen to how it sounds with everything in. So that's sounding really nice indeed. Lots of energy and some really cool groove. Okay, let's move on to adding some acid effects. Oh, a bit too eager there. And let's just give it like a yellow. And we're going to be using Anna for this. So acid effect 1. Let's give it the colour. So I already went ahead and found some cool acid sounds, and it's something that you hear quite a lot in psytrance, is that really cool kind of distorted, long-tailed kind of acid sound that really sits on top of the mix. So here's the first one that I've set up. Kind of sounds a bit bad at the moment, but if we go into the synth itself, I actually have a lot of people ask me how I do these types of things, so this is exactly how I do it. You just basically, you automate the cutoff, so I'll play around the cutoff as the sound is playing. So you get that really cool kind of movement with the sound itself. So let's get the acid effect in there, and let's start it. Let's see how it sounds like that. I'm not really sure what it's going to sound like, but that sounds pretty good. I like it. It's got that nice movement to it, and it changes the actual sound as the automation moves down. So let's get stereo shaper, widen it out. A little bit of EQ, and let's get some delay on there. So that's sounding nice. And again, let's get the reverb on. Sounding pretty cool. Let's get some sidechain on. And let's just quickly listen to see how that sounds with everything else. So I'm really liking that. It's nice and short, adds another dimension to the track, which is exactly what we're after. Okay, let's go for acid effect number 2. And I have this set up already, which is this one. And let me insert the MIDI. There we go. And I think we're going to use the exact same channel setup as we did with the first one. So let's have a listen to this second one. That's really cool. Might just bring down the feedback on the delay. Sounding nice. Let's have a listen to those. So even by themselves, they've got a really, really nice atmospheric and driving sound to them. Using a stereo shaper, pushing them out wide, really helps them sit on top of the mix. So now let's do our third acid effect, and let's insert the MIDI. Really, when I was working out these MIDIs, it was just trial and error, to be honest. It was just working out how they sounded, and really just not kind of spending too long on them. I just wanted a very short kind of 16th style pattern, and then these extra long ones worked particularly well with this type of acid sound. So I've just copied again the mixer channel over. Let's have a listen to how this sounds. Link it. So that's pretty cool. So let's put the effects on. That sounds pretty good. The delay is a bit too much on it though. It's a little bit better. So let's now have a listen to all of the acids, the bass hits, and the kick of the bass. Sounding cool. Now with everything. Really liking the sound of that. Very cool indeed. Just going to take some of the low end off this last one as it was clashing with the kick a little bit. And in fact, I think I'm going to increase the sidechain amount just by an extra notch. Very nice indeed. Really liking that. Okay, so we've got our 3 acid effects. Quite simple really, like I was saying, it's just adding in trial and error, seeing what works best with that type of sounds on the synth, and of course going in and playing around with the cut-offs and see how they sound when you're moving them about. So we're going to add one final acid sound, and this is going to be the main acid sound, which will be used later on in the project, but we're going to use it as a fill for the time being. So I'll just set these up and let's link that to a channel and let's see how that sounds. So that's really cool. It's got that real kind of Go-Asai type sound already. So just going to add some EQ. And then of course let's add the delay, and let's do something different with this delay. Maybe let's try at number 4. That's pretty cool. Maybe number 7. Doesn't quite match up. This should do. So that's quite cool, quite a nice effect. Let's actually try and add another delay and see how that sounds as well, but an even shorter one. So we've got a longer one and then we've got a short one afterwards. So that's a really nice effect. That kind of has a double delay almost type of sound. You hear the first delay, which is the longer one, and then the shorter delay kind of works within that as well. So that's very nice. So let's add some reverb. And that's really nice, liking the sound of that. So let's get this in the mix and see what it sounds like. Sounded very good. The track is coming together very, very nicely. I think what we have here now is a real, very solid loop, 8-bar loop of lots and lots of different sounds that we've put in there. Lots of atmospheric sounds, chopped up, some acids to give it some dirt, the bass hits to real kind of help the drive and working with the bass and the kick. Sounded very, very nice indeed. that's all we're going to do with the acid effects, and over the next few episodes I think we're going to start looking at some bit more melodic sections, maybe some vocals, some pads, and then we're going to get on to starting to structure out the track. So I'll see you next time.